I'm Chris.
I'm Sandy.
And this is Parenting Autism. Hello and welcome to episode 91, everyone. I'm here with Sandy today, and we have a little special clip for you today. The topic is anxiety, and Bryce has had some anxiety challenges, I would say, in the past few weeks. It's definitely been ticking
up the past few weeks. Yes.
And what happened was, we want to play this for you right away, so you can get a gist of what we're talking about. I just felt like I needed to sit down with Bryce and ask him about his anxieties. And so once we started talking, I decided to record it so I could share it with Sandy, because Sandy wasn't there at the time. And we just listened to it back and decided that it was just too important not to share with our audience.
I agree. When I listened to it, I thought it's very insightful as to what causes Bryce to worry, which I think could be enlightening to other parents.
Yeah.
And in other people in general that are trying to understand autism.
So here it is. We'll play it for you, and then we'll be back to talk a little more about it. Here we go. Okay, so you're thinking about the propane tank?
Yep.
Okay. So, propane tank. Would it help you if we got rid of the propane tanks?
Yeah.
It would help you feel better?
Yep.
Where are the propane tanks?
In the garage.
In the garage?
They're in the shed.
They're in the shed. Okay. So, all right. So number one, you're worried about something exploding, like a bomb, in our house, right?
Yeah.
And that's because of the propane tank?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to write down a solution. A solution means how to fix it. Right? So the solution is to sell the propane tanks. Okay, would that be good?
Yeah.
And then they won't be in the shed anymore.
Yeah, I want you to sell them.
Okay. All right. Your number 2 biggest worry is buildings getting destroyed. So, what building are you thinking of?
Sometimes buildings are weak and they can get destroyed.
Okay.
And that's why I'm worried about that.
Sometimes they are weak and can get destroyed. Now, have you ever seen a building destroyed in real life?
No, there was just 2.
Just those 2, right?
Yep, just those 2.
Do you know where those were located?
Those were located in New York City.
New York City, yep. And do you think that'll happen again?
I think it will happen again sometime. Like it's gonna not happen again.
When do you think it might happen again?
Never.
Never?
I think it will happen again sometime if the airplanes were going to crash very fast into the buildings.
Well, the buildings aren't there anymore, right? And they built a stronger building, right?
Yes.
That deflects aircraft so they don't crash into it.
Yeah.
Is that safer?
Yes.
Okay. Do you think there might be another airplane somewhere that's going to crash into a building?
There's no airplane that's going to crash into it. And sometimes might get weak.
Yeah.
It gets weak.
How does it get weak?
Not eating the grapefruit because I don't have the iPad.
Oh, we're not talking about that now. We're talking about buildings getting destroyed. So we don't think it's going to happen again, right?
No, it's not.
So do you feel better?
Yeah, right now I will.
You do? You feel better because the new building is stronger?
Yes.
So we'll put the solution is the new building is stronger and it probably won't happen. Help me complete the sentence.
Again.
Again, okay. So you feel better about that?
Yeah.
Okay. What's number 3 biggest worry?
Probably a fire.
Fire. Okay. And where do you think a fire might happen?
A fire might happen on the ceiling sometimes.
On our ceiling or somebody else's ceiling?
On our ceiling sometimes.
Fire on our ceiling. Have you ever seen a fire on our ceiling before?
No, I remember that happened in Jessica's house, though.
Oh, okay. Remember Jessica's house. Now, did the fire happen inside of Jessica's house or outside?
Outside.
Outside. Did you actually see the fire or did you see just something that got burnt?
Something that just got burned.
Okay.
You'll actually see it when you go outside and look at the ceiling
Look at the roof.
during the storm.
Yeah.
And plus, actually, the rain put it out of the fire.
Right.
So you won't actually see it. If you're really fast, then you should see it.
Okay, so the rain put it out. Now, has our house ever caught fire before?
Oh, no. I haven't seen that happen.
Do you think it's likely or unlikely to catch fire?
Unlikely.
Unlikely. It's unlikely to catch fire. And if it ever does, what do we have?
A fire extinguisher.
We have a fire extinguisher. Fire extinguisher. Now, do you feel better knowing that our house has never caught on fire?
Yes.
And that we have a fire extinguisher?
Yes.
Is there anything else we can do to help your worries about that?
Yes.
What can we do?
Daddy, I've had enough of that.
Enough of what?
This right here.
You don't like my list?
I like your list, but I need a break from it. No.
Okay, go ahead and eat some more grapefruit.
Oh, but I keep getting distracted because I don't have the iPad.
Well, you don't have electronics.
Sometimes mommy distracts me from eating
How does mommy distract you?
by saying hi to me.
Now, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
A bad thing.
It's a bad thing for mommy to say hi to you?
Yeah, it's a good thing.
Mommy loves you. She's going to say hi to you.
Yeah,
Say
but
hi.
I would get distracted sometimes like that.
It's okay to get distracted for those things. Those are good things. When she says hi to you, you should give her a big, gigantic hug because she's Mommy, right? She's kind of like a celebrity superstar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I really want the iPad because Mommy's not here.
Well, that doesn't make any sense. We don't use our iPad when we're eating breakfast.
I
Right?
know that, but
Okay.
I just always distracted sometimes when
It's hard not to be distracted, right?
It's very easy for me to be distracted if I don't use the iPad.
Okay, we'll take another bite.
Yeah.
Take another bite.
Yeah.
Let's finish up this grapefruit so you can play some, okay? We'll finish this grapefruit. Okay, so I got your top 3 worries. Is there anything else that you ever worry about?
Yep, Daddy.
What would be number 4? Here, I'm going to put number 4 here. Here's number 4. What would number 4 be?
Number 4 will be right here.
Do you have any other big worries?
I guess that's all.
You only have 3? That's good. Do you know who helps us in all of these situations?
God.
That's right. God helps.
I took one more bite, Daddy.
That's good. Take another bite.
And
Now, what can we do with God to help us feel better? What can we do? What can we do with God?
ask Him to forgive us.
Well, He forgives us of our sins, but we can pray to Him, right?
Yeah, we can.
Okay. And when can you pray to Him?
Whenever you're ready.
Whenever you're ready, that's right. You can pray to Him anytime. And did you know that when you pray to God, your worries automatically go away as you're praying? Did you know that?
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So whenever you feel worried, you should pray right away. And you can pray out loud. You don't have to pray just in your head. You can pray out loud. Say, "Dear God, help me with my worry right now." And tell Him what your worry is so that He can help you. Okay? All right. So,
Only a little faster than just slow if I have the iPad.
okay. So there's no number 4 here?
Yes. That's all my worries.
Just 1, 2, and 3. So first, we're going to sell our propane tank so you don't have that worry anymore, right? We're going to put a big X through that one. Then you were worried about buildings getting destroyed, but you know that the new building that they built is stronger so that it probably won't happen again. So you feel better about that, right?
I feel better about that.
And then the fire on our ceiling, and because you remember Jessica's house, right? She had a little piece of burnt lint on her roof, and the rain put out the fire, right? And we decided that it's unlikely that our house is going to catch fire.
Yeah, it would be very easy to catch fire when you're cooking the too long.
If I'm cooking too long,
Is that number 4?
no, it's still about the fire. So if I'm cooking, it's okay to cook for a long time, but it's not good to be away from the stove while you're cooking, right? Because you have to keep an eye on it. You have to make sure that nothing is cooking too much.
What happens if you keep looking at the stove?
While you're cooking, yeah, you want to look at your food.
What happens if you don't?
Well, your food could get burnt, right?
How? Because you're not there. What happens if you just do nothing when you're just standing there?
While you're cooking?
Yes.
Well, you can watch it cook and make sure that it's cooking good, and then sometimes you stir it, right? And then when it's all done, you put it on a plate. But if you walk away too long, it would look like this. It would be black, yucky food. Ew.
Yeah.
It wouldn't catch fire, but it would be black, yucky food.
How would it catch fire?
It wouldn't catch fire.
How would it catch fire when you cook it too long?
How could it catch fire?
If you put a sponge on the stove?
No.
What things can catch on fire?
Things usually catch on fire if there's a spark or if you light a match or light a lighter. Right?
Yeah.
So you don't do that at the stove. Right? There's no sparks over there. There's no matches.
Like if you
no
add this firework to there?
Well, you don't light fireworks in the house, right? Fireworks are for
Outside.
outside. Yep.
Because if you why don't I like it inside?
It would be really what?
Loud.
Yeah, it'd be really loud.
That's why. And plus it'll make sparks on our floor.
Yeah, we don't want that.
That's why.
It could mess up our floor, right?
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah.
Like if there were big tents and they were touching the floor, it would make those.
Mm-hmm. Right. So we're not worried about Daddy cooking too long because some things take a long time to cook, right? Sometimes we put things in the oven and it might take a half an hour or an hour to cook in the oven. Okay?
Yes, but what about 12 hours?
12 hours? Well, sometimes Daddy cooks meat outside in the smoker.
What happens if you wait like about 12 hours when food's cooking in the oven when you walk away?
It's okay to walk away when something's in the oven as long as you have a timer on it so you can come back and check on it.
What happens if you don't have a timer?
Then you might forget that it's in there, and then if you forget that it's in there and it cooks too long, it'll look like this, all black and yucky. Black and yucky food.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can get but what about without an object? Can you do that? Can it catch a fire without an object?
Nope. If you just turn the oven on with nothing in it, it won't catch fire.
What happens if you put food in it and you cook it too long?
Well, then it looks like this and it tastes yucky, right?
I know, it looks like blood.
We wouldn't eat that, right?
No.
Yucky.
Currently now distracted because I'm not eating this grapefruit.
Okay, all right. So we're not worried about cooking too long anymore, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Any number 4s?
No.
No, you're good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So first thing we'll do is we'll get rid of those propane tanks, okay?
Yep.
Okay. So we're back and
I hope you found that to be insightful like I did. I mean, and thanks, babe. I thanked you before for recording that for me because otherwise I would not know those things, and you have more opportunities being his teacher at home during the day. You have his attention and you have that opportunity to talk about his worries and they have been spiking up.
I think it's important to, when one spouse works during the day and the other one's home with the child or children, that if you have a chance to video record or audio record an important conversation, I think it goes a long way. And the the spouse understanding what's going on and keeping them up to date with, what's happening, and especially if there's a meltdown or something, you don't always think to record those types of things,
right.
But it can be helpful for the other person to just totally understand.
Yeah, I know. Even times when I'm at work, you'll text me something or send me some type of message, and I've done that for you as well.
Yeah, like I'll prep you, like, okay, this happened today. Just know that when you come home, Bryce is in.
I've done that for you too, to say he's fragile. He's emotionally fragile. When you get home, I'll explain when I see you, but don't mention whatever it is. Don't mention.
Fill in the blank, and we'll talk about it later.
It's just like a good heads up.
Yeah.
But this, when I listened to it, first of all, I thought you did an amazing job, or seriously, to be able to take that approach. And then when you heard him starting to tell you some of his worries, you right away just had the wisdom to say, well, let's find solutions. Because isn't that what everybody wants? A solution to whatever's got them nervous or worried about something. And Bryce is no different. His worries are just much more magnified than my worries. I mean, I have them too. I was joking with you earlier today that I was putting the toilet seats down because you said, why are you doing that? And I said, well, because I'm worried that there's a frog or a snake that's going to come out. And then you're like, seriously? I'm like, well, I don't sit here and worry about it, but it crosses my mind. So if I see one open in the house, I'll go and I'll shut it. But the difference between me walking by and thinking that and then doing something about it, I keep moving on, right? Once I put the lid down, I'm moving on. Bryce, if something's on his mind, it doesn't leave. It just stays there like on a stuck track in his mind where he can't let it go. And he worries about these things. I mean, the first two things he told you that he's worrying about were from last September. Over a year ago. Yeah. The building exploding, I'm sure, comes from when he watched that movie Aliens briefly. And then the 9/11 was from September of 2021. I mean, that's been over a year.
Most recently, for his birthday, we promised him 2 donuts, and we only had one gluten-free, dairy-free donut
left.
And
yes.
so he has been worrying about getting his additional donut ever since his birthday, which has been 3 weeks ago.
Yes.
And we just found this out. He hasn't said anything to us, but he's been thinking about it. And finally,
well, here's what you've been doing. Yeah. Since we did this recording, or you did the recording, you have been asking him every evening, how are you feeling today? Do you have any worries?
Yeah.
And you'll say, what kind of day? Was it a good day? And he'll say, usually yes. And you'll say, do you have any worries? Is there anything that's makes you nervous? And he's been saying no, but this particular night, it was a few nights ago, he said, yes, I do have one worry. And we're like, you do? What is it? And he said, well, I'm thinking back to my birthday when I was supposed to get 2 donuts and I only got 1, and we need to make that right.
Yeah,
that's what he said. So let me tell you, people, there are no frozen gluten-free, dairy-free donuts around here. I found them on an Aldi special, and I bought every box they had in the 2 stores near us, and they're gone. And so Target, they don't have them at our Target near us. So we've found them online. They're being shipped. They won't be here until next week, but we've at least told him and showed him they're coming. And so that's reducing it. But he said that one, and then he also had another worry that night that he shared, but we must have resolved it because I can't think of that one right now. But the good news is he's telling us, and that's what's really important. But most importantly, he's only telling us because you're asking him. And if we didn't ask the question, we wouldn't get the answer. It just doesn't come out of him unless it's prompted, and it's just the way it is, you know? We just see his behaviors like he's picking at his skin, or he got his finger in his mouth, or something like that, but if we don't ask, he's normally not going to offer it up. So I'm glad that you've been doing that. And I know that you talked to him, that he could talk to God about it and he could pray about it. And what did you tell him about that?
Well, it was in the recording.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, See, my brain.
That's okay.
Yeah, but I think you also told him outside of the recording that he could pray to God. He doesn't have to do it out loud. He could do it quietly.
Yeah, I told him he could do it both ways. In the recording, I told him that he didn't have to just pray in his brain. He could say the words.
Right.
And then later on, I said, you don't even have to pray. You could do it either way. You could pray out loud, pray it to yourself, with your brain. And
I knew that because he told me you told him that.
And whenever you're praying, there's no anxiety.
Yeah.
The anxiety and prayer cannot exist simultaneously. That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah. So that's what we're trying to do is be able to talk to him, reason these things out, give him solutions, let him know that he can pray to God about things, he can talk to us about things. And he did say to me the other night, "Okay, Mommy, I do think I'm going to have to talk to God about helping me get to the next level on the Super Mario Galaxy game," whichever one it was. I said, "Sure, you can talk to him about that too, no problem." So, but we're happy that we're encouraging him to find peace in God like we have. It's different reasons why he needs it, but that's what we're doing for him. So I don't. We don't have to talk about this long and hard. I think the video said a lot. But while we're on the topic, I did want to say that two things. I want to share a couple of funny things. They're funny to us, but I also wanted to talk about the holy basil and how we had taken that out. So I'm going to let you take that lead first, and then I'll wrap up with the little stories.
So these anxiety episodes increased exponentially recently, and I marked it on my calendar that I keep. And so I'm like, what has changed? So I looked back on the calendar, and we had run out of holy basil, and it's an herb that reduces anxiety, and I just didn't reorder it. I'm looking for ways to reduce our supplement load here. Because I feel like he's taken
it is a lot
of supplements. And when we mentioned it to his new autism doctor, she's like, I didn't, like the first autism doctor put him on it. Second autism doctor, she's like, okay, she didn't really say either way, but if we were to reduce, we could probably take that out.
That's right.
So I didn't reorder it. And I marked it on the calendar that when we stopped. And that coincided with the uptick in anxiety. And like we always say, every kid is different. A supplement that we take may or may not work with another child. It's just...
We don't.
It is what it is, And the brand that we get, if anybody wants to know, is called Tulsi, Tulsi, holy basil, and it does.
Well, that's what we're saying.
It works for us.
We got it in the mail. We ordered it, and it took a couple of days. And it seemed like right away.
Either same day or next day. The anxiety reduced 75%.
Yeah. And you looked at me, you go, "Is it just me?" I'm like, it could be the placebo effect, but I really think that this is helping him.
Before we switched back on it, it was like every hour, every couple hours, I'm worried about this. I'm worried about that.
Yeah. I'm nervous about this.
Nervous. And
then he was starting to kind of hurt himself again, and we were seeing that uptick, and it happened at therapy. He actually injured himself to kind of not cut, but like make a mark on his arm to scrape it. So that it would be enough to make him sad, to make me sad, and then to make him more sad, and just crazy things like that. So we're seeing improvement with this. We are grateful that helped. We'll be keeping a close eye on this. We're very proactive parents and not reactive parents, so we're just trying to stay ahead of the behaviors as much as we can. But it was really just... We've had a lot going on with that. That's definitely been the headline around here. This wasn't funny. This also had to do with me picking him up from therapy and him being, I can always tell when something's off, right? And so we're coming home, and the therapist said to me, "Yeah, Bryce wanted to sit in my chair. I told him he could, but he said that he didn't want to, but he said that you said that he could." So I said, "Yeah, you're allowed to sit in her chair. are you afraid you'll get in trouble? And he didn't really say anything. So after we left, we're driving home. And then that's when he told me I was able to, crack the code and get enough answers that I realized he was scared to sit on the chair with the rolling chair because he didn't know what all the parts were. And so even though we gave him permission, he was too scared to sit on it because he just didn't know that it was safe. And he wanted to know what all the parts were and how they worked before he would sit in it. And so once we figured that out, and then you got home, I told you that. And then you patiently took the chair, even turned it over to show him how everything worked and what the main parts were, and asked him if he had any more questions, and he didn't. And then he took a little ride in it,
Oh, yeah, we rode around the house in it.
Yeah, so we knew he felt comfortable again.
So that was kind of weird.
But it's kind of different because, I don't know what went wrong because he used to sit in the chairs.
Right.
And he used to be fine.
That's what I'm saying. It was weird because he used to sit in the chair and
roll around. It was no problem. It's almost like, I don't know if it's because he just has more awareness of things, so he thinks things deeper.
Well, something that happened around that same time was that we got his new school desk, and he wanted to use a rolly chair with his schoolwork. And I told him that we didn't want to use the rolly chair because he would get distracted
and that would be
with
true.
The wheels.
Yeah.
And so I don't know where
Maybe
that went in his processing routine there in his brain, but that could have had something to do with it. I don't know. And he's fine now. So
it seems it's okay right now.
It's not a worry.
Or at least, he hasn't reported it as one. That's all we know. We'll see what happens. The couple little cuter worries that he had was we got him a new clothes hamper for his room. And he told me the other night, he said we needed to get a lock for it. And I'm like, we don't need a lock for your hamper. And he said, we do in case the bad guys come. I said, well, you think the bad guys are going to come in for your hamper? He goes, no, they're going to take my clothes out of my hamper. I said, Bryce, do you think that bad people are going to come in our house and steal your dirty underwear? And then, I started tickling him and laughing. But I was like, he was half serious. And then I had to be serious and say, dude, really, we're not going to put a lock on your hamper. We're safe. And you had to give him the whole reassurance that nobody's going to come in here and steal anything.
Nobody wants your dirty
dear
clothes.
Lord, I pray over our house now. Please let nobody ever come and steal out of our house because it would be very difficult for Bryce.
Yeah.
But, so that happened. And then it was a couple nights ago that he said to me, Mommy, I'm nervous about dinner. I said, why are you nervous about dinner, Bryce? He goes, well, I'm nervous that you're going to make me eat a cucumber. I said, Bryce, I'm not going to make you eat a cucumber. He goes, listen to me. And he wanted me to look, he goes, listen to me. I do not want cucumbers. And he listed another food, and I can't remember what it was. Cucumbers and whatever. And then he took his finger up in the air, and he made a big X. And he goes, no cucumbers. I said,
cucumbers.
Okay, I got it. Right? It was so funny. But he was dead serious. So I was telling you, okay, no cucumbers for dinner tonight, which we weren't planning to do. But what happened was a couple weeks ago, he had cucumber. I was sharing my salad with him, and he had a bite, and he goes, I like that. And I said, great, make a note of that. He likes cucumber. He says it tastes like candy, and Bryce doesn't even eat candy. So I'm like, okay, probably because it's crunchy. So you got him a cucumber, and you started making him cucumber snacks, and then you said the other day he told you.
No, he's like, I don't want that. And I'm like, okay. And then he finally told me, he's like, he pointed to the outside rind or the skin, and he's like, that's the part that I don't like. Okay.
There you go.
So going forward, we'll take the skin off.
Yep. So that will be one less worry for Bryce as well. So, some of these worries are little. Some of these worries are big. To him,
they're all big.
They're all big.
Yeah.
So we have to kind of find sometimes a lighter way to diffuse it, and then sometimes it gets more serious. As listeners, if you do deal with this at all and you want to share anything with us, we are open to it for sure. You can always reach out to us. But we just wanted to share this with everybody who kind of follows our journey and is in our world, and we hope that this will be helpful to someone.
Yep. Our email is parentingautism@att.net if you want to share something. But I think that is a good wrap of what we've been dealing with for the past few weeks. And so we're going, the next show will be on our next autism doctor visit, which is Monday, and his Special Olympics basketball. So we'll be looking forward to that.
That he just started, and we're also taking him to the Jacksonville Zoo tomorrow as part of his birthday present. So we'll have stuff to talk about next time.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, thanks for listening. We hope it was helpful to some of you out there, and we'll talk to you later.
All right. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.